Hey everybody, Dogbeer here back in DC Worlds Collide with another character spotlight. Today it's going to be Cyborg, the newest legendary as of making this video. So let's take a look at Cyborg if you're lucky enough to actually get him on the crappy pulls and that 0.5% pull rate. So essentially, even though he is technically a support intellect character or blue character, he can actually be used more as a protector or tank character. You actually can put him in the front row. This seems to be a new trend that they're putting some more support characters so you can go in the front row. Two-Face is like that. You have Red Hood is like that as well. So as far as gearing goes, you want some healing gear if you can get it. You pretty much have to do some kind of weird build. You want some attack, you want some defense. You just need like all around things, like tankier things are better overall, but you still want some attack in there and you still want some healing due to his kit, which is an interesting kit here. Let's get to his skills. So the big one is this ultimate. Usually use him as a second tank because of this ultimate. And what he does, he protects himself and the ally target the lowest hit point percentage. Whoever bar is the lowest gets immunity. If you don't know what immunity is, it means they don't take any damage. They don't take any buffs, debuffs, I should say. They just sit there and nothing happens to them whenever somebody attacks them. And on top of that, then the next round, they get a 30% damage reduction. This is a 4-round cooldown. I do have him at level 2, but thanks to ranking him up, so he gets to dispel 2 debuffs on top of that. And if you get him to rank 10 or level 3, you get a damage reduction of 45% on that second round. So this is an interesting ability because it does look for lowest hit points percentage. He doesn't work as well with Constantine because Constantine's constantly doing damage. So he might be putting the immunity on somebody you don't want. You generally want to kind of get it on the 2 tanks, himself and whoever your other tank is. Generally. So you'll see that in the videos I have of him. Now, look at his basic Blade Assault. He flies forward, does 85% of his attack power, and adds a stack of bleed for 2 rounds. I have it up to damage to increase to 95% and eventually 105%. So he can work on a bleed team with like Two-Face or something like that, if you're doing one of those kind of teams. His stunt deals physical damage equal to 110% attack power to the enemy target who has dealt the most total damage as of that point. It means if somebody hasn't gone yet and they haven't done damage, even though they do a lot of damage normally, he still won't hit them. It's whoever has done the most damage at that point in time. He also gets a 30% chance to inflict stun. If they have bleed, that each stack of bleed increases that stun chance by 2%. This is why you would want to run him with like a bleed type people. Two-Face, Damien, Wayne, that Robin, Killer Croc. That's another one that you might be running on a bleed team. As you can see, once I get up the second skill level, I have the chance to increase at 40%. Each stack of bleed now increases the chance to inflict stun by 4%, and if you get to rank 9, if his proportion of hit points is lower than 40%, the skill is cast on 2 enemy targets who have dealt the most damage. Big difference there. You get a second target. His passive, this is another one that really helps him stand out as a legendary. When he's higher than 40%, he grants all allies 15% damage reduction. So that means your team's going to take a lot less damage. On top of this, he gains 25% damage reduction, helps him stay alive, and he'll restore 5% of his max hit points at the end of the round. Once you get to rank 8, this reduction increases to 28%, and he heals for 7%. And then finally, level 3, reduction goes to 31 and 9. And the other interesting passive is, at the end of the round, he launches mini missiles at all enemy targets. According to the number of stacks of bleed they are inflicted with, 1 mini missile for every 2 stacks. Each missile deals damage equal to 40% of attack power up to a max of 4 missiles. Again, this is why you want to run in with somebody else who's doing bleeds, but you don't have to. You just won't do as much damage. In reality, it's a neat little thing to get some little extra damage, but his gimmick is really the immunity, and healing up and giving damage reduction. This is just a nice added on bonus. This is what makes him legendary, is that he is this good, that interesting and that good. He really is a good character. His Renaissance links, Starfire, plus 3% attack, plus 6% hit points. If you actually add Wonder Woman, another 6% hit points, another 3% defense. And if you have Kid Flash and Superboy, another 6% attack and another 6% hit points there. So with all this said, let's go take a look at a couple battles that I have here. Alright, this is in the arena, small punch-up. I like to use Nightwing as the main tank with him, due to Nightwing's abilities with the block and reduction of damage on top of the extra reduction on damage you get with Cyborg. It makes him really good with them. Using Batman, because he's a good tank killer, Zatanna to give us some healing, and of course Two-Face to put some bleed stacks out there along with Cyborg. And you can see here goes Batman. Already through the tanks. There he goes. He actually stunned Poison Ivy. And here comes the immunity. As you see, because of the way I have the turn order going, this time that Batman was the lowest, so he got the immunity in this case. Not my Nightwing like I'd like, but this will help to help save somebody who's getting low. Maybe get him a chance to heal. In the case of, because I have Zatanna, as soon as he attacked, he got some healing. So generally with Cyborg, his ultimate's going to be up towards the first, second, or third. Just because you want that ultimate to go off as much as you possibly can, even just because that immunity is such a strong ability. You can see this bunch is already over. I mean, we have Kid Flash stunned. Cyborg going off. There's his mini missiles. So that does it for that arena battle, or whatever you want to call it. Let's move on to another battle. Alright, so this is a main stage battle in which you have two very big tanks and some back row stuff, so this requires some survivability. You can see I'm using probably a better team here for Cyborg. You see his immunity already went off because I have him going first. It puts it on Nightwing and himself. So they're just going to stand there and take all this damage, and they're not going to take any damage. You see going off on Bizarro. This is definitely a better team with Batman. You got Damian and Two-Face in there. Two-Face, Damian, all put bleeds on to help out Cyborg. We also put some bleeds stacks out there. As you can see, there's some on Clayface already. And Batman's just great single target damage because we're going against some big tanks. Damian does the back row. Batman does the front row. Putting some more bleed stacks out there. Cyborg is very tanky despite just being technically a support character. He's just keeping us alive. That damage reduction is quite big. We already got rid of the main boss, Bizarro. And you can see that he just hits that back row no matter what. Now we get to project Batman because he was getting low. Damian can do his thing. We do lose Two-Face. That's not a big deal. You might not even want to run him. You can see my tanks, though, stay alive quite easily, despite taking tons of damage. There he goes with the immunity again. That's one of the things you gotta kind of watch, try to hope not to get, is a character who goes immediately after Cyborg goes and puts the immunity on them, because therefore they would lose that. Give you an idea here, some of the stats. The damage goes. You can see not a whole lot of healing, but a lot of shielding, a lot of damage taking. He does a little bit of damage, not much. So that does it for Cyborg. I hope this video is informative and helps you out. Until next time.